Yeah, entertainment nerd, come and let me show you. This is everything you wanna know about nerd culture. Hey, entertainment nerd, ain't none fresher. You can nerd out, don't even need your pocket protector. Where my nerds at? Grab a drink, come through, keep it entertaining. Comic books to movie news, this is what you need. All my nerds, come get with me. If you really live your life like you on the Big Bang Theory. Marvel to DC, we really got a passion. Justice League, yes indeed. Hold up, let me fix my glasses. Uncle Black died on my Calla when the story accrue. Lady Mocha, shout out Adrian. You know how we do. Hey, entertainment nerd, come and let me show ya. This is everything you wanna know about nerd culture. Entertainment nerd, ain't none fresher. You can nerd out, don't even need your pocket protector. Nerd news, nerd culture, nerd happy hour. Entertainment nerd, let's go.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live from West Texas for New Shepard's first human flight. We are at T-minus 15 minutes. We are in a brief hold here. This is okay. I mean, to say, Gary, you can appreciate this. We spent years designing this rocket, months and months designing the mission. And if we need to take a couple of minutes more to make sure that the team is aligned, that we're all set and sorted, that our astronauts are happy, that the weather both on the ground and up aloft is within green zones, then we're going to do that. How do you guys think about holds when you're in mission control? What is happening right now?
There's really two kinds of holds. There might be a hold while they investigate an anomaly, and very often that is not the case, though. There are sometimes holds just to catch up in the timeline. The thing about New Shepard that's distinct from orbital vehicles that you might have seen is that we don't need to launch at a precise time to meet some launch window because we're trying to intercept something in space. We have a lot of time. We can take our time. It's better to pause and hold if there's any reason to, if there's a sensor reading that you want to investigate or you just want to catch up in time. So that's why we tend to take these holds. Otherwise, we bias to launching as soon as possible so we don't otherwise have a lot of buffer in the normal count.
Absolutely. So again, well, actually, now I understand the hold is lifted.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that we have gotten the timelines all aligned, our teams are all sorted, and we are continuing our countdown. While we have a moment here, again, let's throw it back to the pad, check out our astronauts in the capsule as they get ready for their launch to space and back this morning. All right, everybody, we are at T-minus 14 minutes and 5 seconds to go until launch here. Got goosebumps going already. Again, the adrenaline is building and the energy is building up here as the clock ticks down. And while our astronauts and our teams are going through the final checks with our crew member 7 and the launch team, let's talk about seeing Earth from space and how it changes you. And we're very fortunate here at Blue Origin to have several NASA astronauts that are working with us, and they've logged hundreds of hours in space, and they offer a keen perspective on what our first human flight astronauts are just minutes away from experiencing.
I find it's very interesting that people can look at a picture of Earth taken by an astronaut, but they don't get that change inside that actually being there in space gives you. It is one of those things that you kind of have to do.
The perspective from space is a really fantastic one. You can see things that you never thought you'd see from Earth.
It really can't help but change your life. It changes your perspective. Having that kind of an experience makes you feel smaller.
You really do come back with a sense that the Earth is a closed environment. Everything we have here to eat, breathe, drink, it's all traveling together.
And looking at the blackness of space and looking at the surface of the Earth and seeing that almost nothing separates those two. All of humankind is on this one small rock, protected by this thin, fragile little layer of air.
It makes you realize that the planet is, in fact, a giant spaceship traveling through space that's home to 7 billion of us. And I think every astronaut who goes to space is changed by it in some way.
They've actually documented a change in core values in almost all astronauts from before the flight to after the flight. And as millions and millions of people begin to get this experience, I think the knowledge on Earth and a different understanding about our planet will gradually improve. The experience of something that changes who you are on the inside, it's very powerful. It is so memorable and so unique that people walk away speechless.
Incredible stuff. I hope one day I get to experience that. And I know obviously the 4 people that are on top of that rocket are about to do that. Gary, do you want to talk to us a little bit about today's flight profile, how they're getting up to space over the Kármán line and back home down here to West Texas?
Absolutely. So T-0 is the time that we...
Actually, Gary, if you don't mind standing by, I understand that we are ready for our go, no-go poll.
This is the flight director. New Shepard is go for launch. Booster, commence similar count.
Wilco flight.
Controller, strap UHF voice.
Enabling onboard power.
All right, thank you everybody for joining us again. Sorry about that. So we got so caught up in the flight profile and the perspectives from our NASA astronauts. We just caught the tail end there of the go no go poll. But I'm hearing that we're looking good for flight today. So let's get back into that flight profile, Gary, that you're telling us about here. Again, how are they getting up to space over the Kármán line, the internationally recognized line of space, and then back down here to Earth in West Texas?
Okay, so T-0 is actually not the point of liftoff. It's when we send the command to start the engine. It lifts off about 7 seconds later. It will ascend for about 2.5 minutes and then shut off. It goes through what we call MECO, main engine cutoff. About 20 seconds after that, the capsule will separate, and that's when the fasten seatbelt light on their panels will turn off, and they'll be able to float around the capsule for 3 to 4 minutes. During that time, both vehicles are still ascending, and they will ascend above 100 kilometers. The Kármán line today, we're headed for about 105, 106 kilometers, and then start their descent. The capsule, the booster will actually re-enter first. It's more aerodynamic. Before it hits the atmosphere, it deploys wedge fins on top to stabilize it, and then uses those aft fins to steer back over the pad. Just over the pad, about 20,000 feet above, it deploys drag brakes to slow itself down, and then restarts its engines just seconds before hitting the ground to slow itself down to a soft landing. The landing legs will come out just seconds before landing. It might do 1 or 2 maneuvers to make sure that it's over that pad, and then it will touch down softly. Meanwhile, the capsule will continue its flight. The astronauts will strap back in before hitting the atmosphere, get back in their seats. There'll be thrusters that will stabilize the capsule just to prevent it from rocking too much, and then parachutes will deploy about 10,000 feet above the ground. First, drogues will fire, and those will extract the mains. And then finally, a landing will occur on a cushion of air which will fire just about 6 feet off the ground.
Fantastic. And you know, we've mentioned this before on previous webcasts that the dirt down here, it's like talcum powder. It goes everywhere. And so when we have that air cushion that fires, it really kicks up the dust. But again, they're coming in at just about 1 or 2 miles an hour. It's a really nice, soft landing. And again, Gary, we confirmed we are go for launch for first human flight on New Shepard. My goodness. I mean, you've been waiting for this day for 17 years since you joined Blue Origin. What are you feeling right now, Gary?
It's still hard to believe that it's actually here. I don't know if it's set in yet, but the main thing I'm feeling is I'm thinking about the entire team, past and present, the hundreds and hundreds of people that have worked on the New Shepard program and what this must mean to them.
Absolutely. It's you know, we talked about the team here. It's a lean and mean team, obviously, but each one of those people has contributed so much to this program. It's again, a special shout out to all of our Blue Origin team members watching around the world. Now, for the others that are watching around the world, if you want to experience space flight for yourself, if you want to do what Jeff and Mark and Wally and Oliver are doing today, and you're serious about it, send us an email at astronauts@blueorigin.com. We are open. We're open for ticket sales to send you all to space. What just an incredible, incredible day. And, you know, we're so lucky to have this particular crew on board today, Gary. And I feel like, you know, not only do we have this beautiful story about the Bezos brothers that are going up, and Wally and Oliver, soon to be the oldest and the youngest astronauts who have ever flown into space. Oliver, that's representing our international friends out there, taking the Dutch flag to space, you know. And then again, Wally, who has been thinking about going to space, well, her entire life, but certainly since the 1960s, and she was part of that program that got canceled, and she just kept fighting until recently we said, hey, Wally, why don't you join us for this first crew? And I can only imagine our future customers that are going to go on board. They're going to represent the world. They're going to represent many different backgrounds, and we certainly look forward to that. As we mentioned, we're going to have 2 more flights in 2021 for a total of 3, and again, many more to come in the future. And that is just fantastic. And I can imagine, again, as you were building the system, Gary, as you were thinking about, okay, this is not just a 1 or 2 flight, you know, operation with New Shepard. You've built it for a long-term program.
We've built it to continue indefinitely and to take hundreds and hundreds of astronauts in the future. We hope to be into the thousands soon.
And just think about that, right? There have only been about 560, 570 people that have ever been over the Kármán line, up 100 kilometers up over the internationally recognized line of space. And today we're going to add 4 more to that list, which is so cool.
Yes, and someday in the near future, we will be over 570 just on the New Shepard program.
Can you imagine? Are you going to go up?
Absolutely.
You going to go up with me?
Sure.
You in, man? All right. Awesome. Okay, we are T-minus 4 minutes and 20 seconds to go until launch. What an incredible moment. Let's check out New Shepard on the pad here. We are awaiting the rocket is going to go into some last minute checks on the vehicle. At T-minus 2 minutes is when the vehicle, we throw the show over to her. It's all on her. It's an autonomous vehicle. But Gary, do you want to talk to us about what are some of those last minute checks that the vehicle is going through, and that we're going to see especially on our screen?
Right. So as you mentioned, the last 2 minutes are auto sequence, and that is executed entirely by the vehicle itself through an automated checklist. You'll see a couple of things. There will be things that you don't see, such as sensor checks, pressure checks on the tanks, radio checks. All hundreds and hundreds of different checks will be stepped through in this checklist. But what you will see is the hydraulic system spooling up, which will wiggle the engine gimbal as well as the aft fins. They're not only wiggling those surfaces, but they're making sure that there's no stiction and they travel smoothly.
Fantastic. And again, we are waiting to see that. You'll be able to see as Gary said, you don't get to see all of those last-minute checks, but we certainly get to see the aft fins. As Gary mentioned, those are the fins at the base of the vehicle. There are 4 of those. Obviously, they help direct the rocket both up and down. And then the engine will gimbal. That is our BE-3 engine, the Blue Engine 3, 110,000 pounds of thrust. Liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen are what are the propellants in the engine. It's not only a powerful and also throttleable engine. The throttle, I'll talk about the throttleability just here for a second. We throttle the engine back as it comes back to land, and that's what creates a nice soft landing, because as it comes in, of course, it's not filled with all the propellant that it had on the way back up. So if we throttle it back, kind of like an airplane, it comes in for a nice, soft landing. And, you know, what a trip to space and back. Again, this vehicle, we've had 15 successful flights on. Again, we're looking forward to this 16th one, of course, a very special one with people on board today. I just, T-minus 2 minutes, there we go.
Bridge is retracting.
The bridge is retracting. There's Oliver on the left, Jeff Bezos on the right. We are about to go to space, everybody.
We are in auto sequence. Ariane, when that engine gimbal check occurs and that engine swings, they should actually be able to feel it in the cabin, because it'll sway the stack back and forth.
There go the aft fin checks. There you see the engine gimbal check just peeking out at the base of the rocket. All right, here we go, everybody. Thousands of people contributed years to this historic moment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Blue Origin's first human flight. Godspeed, first crew of New Shepard. Let's light this candle.
T-minus 16, guidance internal. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Command engine start. 2, 1. Ignition. We have liftoff. Shepard cleared the tower.
And New Shepard has cleared the tower on our way to space with our first human crew. Go, Jeff. Go, Mark. Go, Wally. Go, Oliver. You are going to space. Oh my goodness, listen to the roar of the BE-3 engine. We are just about to pass through max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. That was when the stresses on the vehicle are at their maximum.
Max Q.
Max Q is confirmed. Beautiful burn on that BE-3 engine. Liquid hydrogen
Mach 1.
and liquid oxygen as the propellants. It's a nice, not just clean in terms of beautifully performing, but what comes out of it, it's steam, right? Whew. To see the glow of the engine underneath the rocket, just under our shoulders, and to know that we've got a crew that is going to space. It just feels different, doesn't it, Gary?
It is totally different.
All right, you can follow along, of course, the speedometer in the bottom left, the altimeter in the middle of the screen there. So far appears to be a nominal flight. All right, coming up here on MECO, main engine cutoff. That will be followed shortly by separation. And at that point, after separation, we're going to let the astronauts unbuckle and take in the freedoms of zero G. There is MECO, main engine cutoff. A beautiful shot down the New Shepard rocket. Look at that view. Unreal. Awaiting separation here. And here we are. You can start to see, stand by. You're going to see the separation of the capsule from the booster itself.
Oh, wow. We just thank you. We get to look out the window. Holy kid God. Oh, wow. Don't forget to get upside down.
And there we go. Our astronauts have passed the Kármán line at about 328,000 feet, continuing their ascent. You see the two vehicles there. When the speed hits zero, you know that they've hit apogee, their maximum altitude, and you hear they're having quite an experience.
All my instincts are fine. Okay, I'm gonna start back. Okay. Yep. Got it. You just have to wait for it. Who wants a Skittle? Oh, yeah. Yeah! Well done!
1 minute warning. 1 minute warning.
Go! Oh, sorry. It's right there. So good.
Get that one?
Got it. Let's see if I can see the boost. Yeah. Little bit. I cannot. Oh, wow. You guys take a moment to look at that. Okay, get in. We gotta get in. The roll.
Oh, fantastic. Look at this. It's dark up here.
Oh, wow.
2,000 miles an hour.
Everybody in?
First status check. Astronaut Oliver.
Oh, my word.
Oh, wow.
Let's go more.
Oliver, status check. Oh, sorry. Blue Control, Oliver, status perfect. Wincy.
Copy. Astronaut Wally.
Wally. Blue Control, Wally is Wincy.
Copy. Astronaut Demo.
Astronaut demo, reply.
Copy. Astronaut Bezos. Copy.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us live for our first human flight on New Shepard. So far, a phenomenal flight. Our booster is about to return to its landing pad. There we see engine relights. The sonic boom. And booster touchdown, welcome back, New Shepard. A beautiful rocket that provided a beautiful flight to space.
First up, your booster has landed.
Booster landed. Blue Control Bezos, that's great to hear about the booster.
And there it is, our crew capsule with our 4 crew members on board.
You have a very happy crew up here, I want you to know. Oh yeah, I see blue. I see the big barn.
Stand by drogues. Stand by drogues.